I could never vote for Newsom. I just can't.
Something snapped, and not on the right, but deep within the progressive core. When Anna Kasparian, the unapologetic voice behind the Young Turks and a long-standing pillar of the American left, turned her fury on Gavin Newsom, it wasn't just another political rant. It was a full-blown betrayal from within.
Gavin Newsom, in every single interview I've seen him do, has passed the buck, even though he is the governor of this state.
Yeah.
He is pathetic.
I'm a native Angelino. I was born and raised in California. I love my state. I love the people in this state. But it is an absolute wasteland right now.
This wasn't some Republican ambush or conservative smear. This was a gut punch from someone who used to defend the team. Imagine being roasted so hard by your own side that it makes your critics look merciful. That's what just happened.
Look, I would take
her over it. That's horrible that we have to do that.
I can't. I could never vote for Newsom. I just can't. I would just say that his leadership in California is good reason to brush him off for the loser that he really is.
Anna didn't hold back. She tore through the Newsom illusion like a blade through paper. And if the governor still sees a leader in the mirror after this, he's looking into a fantasy. She called him pathetic. Not misguided, not flawed, not even incompetent. Pathetic. That's a brutal word. And coming from a longtime progressive who once fought tooth and nail for Democratic leadership, it lands like a wrecking ball.
Oh, I'm sure he really does find it funny. He's not bothered by it at all. You just heard the bitter statements of a snake who unfortunately serves as the governor of California. Some like to refer to him as Gavin Newsom. I like to refer to him as a smarmy failure of a politician out of the state that I was born and raised in. Nonetheless, Gavin Newsom was fighting hard to be the guy who stepped in to replace Joe Biden if he dropped out of the race, of course.
Because when someone that deep inside the bubble turns on you, the rest of the house is already on fire. California, she says, has turned into a dystopian TikTok filter. Fake, chaotic, and falling apart from every angle. You've got crime spiking in every major city, homelessness flooding the streets, basic infrastructure crumbling like a stale saltine. And Newsom, he's out there doing press tours, combing his hair, and posing for glossy photo ops like he's running a modeling agency. Not a collapsing state. But here's where it gets real. She's not just mad at him, she's done. And the way she laid it out, honestly, you might be done too. Let's talk about those streets.
Your car's gonna get broken into, okay? You're gonna get robbed.
Those are up, by the way.
Using taxpayer money, funneling it to nonprofits so they can literally buy crack pipes and hand them out at Skid Row.
And bleach
There is
pits.
video evidence of that. Paying incredibly high taxes that go to what? So yeah, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. And honestly, just experiencing what I've seen on the ground in California has made me question a lot about left-wing ideology.
Now, what do you think?
Downtown LA, tent cities everywhere. And we're not talking about temporary shelters or emergency relief. We're talking about taxpayer-funded nonprofits handing out crack pipes on Skid Row. You heard that right? It's not conspiracy, it's not exaggerated. There's video, there's proof. Your tax dollars going to help people stay addicted instead of helping them get clean. And Newsom? Nowhere to be found, except on camera, smiling. Meanwhile, Californians are paying some of the highest taxes in the country. And what are they getting in return? Empty promises, more regulations, and programs so laughably mismanaged it's almost offensive. And the most devastating part? This isn't coming from some conservative firebrand. This is coming from Anna Kasparian, one of the few progressives left who actually cares about results, not just rhetoric. At one point, she drops a bombshell that should terrify any Democrat running in 2026 or beyond. I could never vote for Newsom. Let that sink in. When even your ideological allies are backing away like you're radioactive, your career isn't just in trouble, it's circling the drain. But oh, it gets worse.
In 2014, voters in California overwhelmingly supported a ballot measure to support building more reservoirs in the state in order to bulk up our water infrastructure because we live in a drought-prone state. That passed in 2014. Funding was attached to it. You want to know how many reservoirs have been built since 2014? Zero. This state is an utter joke because of the people who are governing it. Gavin Newsom right now is at the top of that list.
Let's rewind to 2014. California voters approved a massive water infrastructure bill, funding included, to help build reservoirs and deal with the state's endless droughts. It passed. It was funded. People cheered. So, what happened? Nothing. 0 reservoirs built. Not one. Not even a start. Just broken promises, more water restrictions, and a government that burns through billions but can't pour a foundation. And speaking of burning, remember the wildfires? Remember the towns that went up in smoke? The families that lost everything?
What would a President Newsom candidacy look like in a general election, not just pandering to the left?
Yeah, good question. He would sell out the American people to corporate interests, just like he did with PG&E, starting fires and destroying countless Californians' lives as a result of that. He bailed them out. He totally bailed them out. He has provided protection for them, even though they absolutely refused to update their century-year-old equipment, which everyone knew was going to lead to devastating wildfires.
You'd think the state would be doing everything to prevent it from happening again. But Newsom, he destroyed a dam that could have helped fight those fires. Why? To protect the fish. No joke. Anna's voice nearly cracks with disbelief. Families lost their homes, and Gavin was worried about salmon. Look, protecting the environment matters, but when your state is literally burning and your focus is fish over fire victims, that's not climate justice. That's virtue signaling insanity. And she calls it exactly that, woke insanity. The kind of political theater where ideology trumps outcomes every single time, where leaders care more about Instagram applause than the people suffering under their leadership. And if you think she's exaggerating, just look around. Let's talk dollars. $24 billion, billion with a B, was allocated to combat homelessness. You want to guess what happened? Homelessness didn't shrink. It exploded. Tent cities multiplied, crime skyrocketed, drug abuse surged, and that $24 billion just vanished. No trace, no accountability, just the faint smell of corruption and a trail of broken dreams. Anna doesn't call that mismanagement, she calls it what it is: gross negligence. And honestly, it's hard to argue, but Newsom's not done failing yet. Remember PG&E? The power company responsible for fires that destroyed homes and lives? You'd think the governor would crack down, hold them accountable, make sure it never happens again. Instead, he bailed them out, protected them, rewarded failure. While people lost everything, Newsom protected the people who caused it. That's not leadership, that's a protection racket. And then there's the infamous French Laundry moment. Newsom, maskless, whining and dining with lobbyist buddies at one of the most exclusive restaurants in the country, while the rest of us were banned from seeing our families for Thanksgiving. That wasn't just hypocrisy, that was a slap in the face. And Anna Kasparian, she hasn't forgotten. But the most dangerous part of all, Gavin Newsom's not just a failed governor anymore, he's being floated as a presidential candidate. Think about that. The man who oversaw the worst exodus in California history, the man whose policies pushed millions to Texas, Florida, and anywhere with a pulse of sanity. That man wants to run America. Anna doesn't just reject that idea, she laughs at it, says it would be sanctuary cities on steroids. Open borders, no accountability, ICE neutered, criminals free to roam, and budgets drained dry in the name of equity theater. She says it would make the entire country look like San Francisco, and if you've been there lately, you know that's not a compliment. And she's not done. In what might be her boldest take yet, she says Gavin Newsom is doing something that even Donald Trump couldn't manage, turning California red. Trump flipped 10 counties. 10. And Anna says she gets it. She's not even surprised, because when real people are suffering and all you offer is hair gel, buzzwords, and PR photo shoots, eventually even diehard progressives walk away. And here's the punchline. While all of this chaos unfolds, while cities crumble and people suffer, Gavin Newsom still plays the victim, blames Republicans, blames climate change, blames the voters, blames anything and anyone but himself. And Anna nails it in one brutal phrase: the fish rots from the head down. She doesn't just call out Newsom, she calls out the entire Democratic elite. Kamala Harris, AOC, the progressive influencers more interested in Twitter clout than governing. She says they've become a branding machine, good at hashtags, terrible at results. And in the most gut-wrenching moment of her rant, Anna drops the act. You can hear it in her voice. This isn't about partisanship. It's not about optics. It's about a state she loves, one she no longer recognizes. And that heartbreak? That's real. That's the sound of someone finally saying what millions have been whispering for years. If Anna Kasparian is done with Gavin Newsom, how many others are next? She closes with a warning. Newsom isn't just the wrong guy for California. He might be the man who finally flips the country. And if Democrats don't wake up, if they keep backing the same failed policies and the same fake leaders, they're not just going to lose California, they're going to lose America. So here's the real question. Is Anna right? Is Gavin Newsom the Democratic Party's biggest liability? Or can they still turn it around before it's too late? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this might be the start of a political earthquake, and the tremors are just beginning. And if you appreciate fearless commentary that tells it like it is, no party lines, no sugarcoating, make sure you're subscribed. Hit that bell, because trust me, this story, it's far from over.